welcome wherever you're joining us from around the world. This is USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. I'm the president, founder, and chief listening officer here at our network, where we currently have over 25 live broadcasts. We're celebrating this week because my team of elevated listeners and I have released 2 books for children on how to listen at an elevated level, and both of them are Amazon #1 new releases. So thank you to each and every one of you who are purchasing our books and celebrating elevated listening. When you listen at an elevated level, you find inner peace, and inner peace, I believe, truly leads to world peace. Today, we have a dynamo who is with us, joining us from Miami, Florida in the United States. He has founded a new smart TV platform. We're going to be finding out more about it. His name is Kirk Gimenez, and he is the founder and host of Xizzle TV. Let's welcome him to the program. Kirk, come on out.
I'm doing my elevated listening. Thank you so much for having me on the show, Dr. Jacalyn.
Oh, it's a pleasure, especially to meet with someone who's a pro like you are. You have an incredible background. When I saw your registration come in, I thought, wow, I'm super excited to meet you and find out about your journey, about how you've created what you've created, and especially about your backstory. So if you would like to tell us a little bit about your platform today, and then let's look at the history of how you got to where you are.
Well, first and foremost, I like to tell people that Xizzle TV is about everything that's hot. Oh, it burns. Careful. But it's a free app on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Samsung TV. What does that mean? That means if you have any of those, smart TVs, you could download it, Xizzle TV, put it next to Netflix. It's free content. Free download, free content. We feature, lifestyle, entertainment, anything that's super and hot. We're here in hot Miami. So it's not just Miami, though. We're worldwide. We've done interviews from Venezuela, Puerto Rico, New York, LA. And it's all about making TV and content for multicultural people. I'm basically making TV for Latinos in English, but Latinos and minorities in the TV business, and I guess in business nowadays, we call them BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color. And that includes women, minorities. I celebrate anyone who's doing anything amazing. So you can go ahead and book your own standalone episode at Kirk@Xizzle.tv, and that's Xizzle with an X, because it was easier to trademark than Xizzle with an S. But you can go ahead and shoot me an email directly, and you can book with us. But you'll be featured alongside. You'll have your own standalone episode alongside companies like Disney, Universal, HBO, Elena Cardone, Grant Cardone, Perla Lichi, all high-end, all Fortune 500, all super echelon companies that want to reach this audience. But my story is all about, I want to provide a positive platform to our people, to tell our stories. There's so many amazing people in the BIPOC, Black and Brown communities that are doing amazing things out there with their brands, their businesses, their charities. And really, the regular media doesn't care. Me being a member of the regular media, I should know. I fought that battle for so many years. And I decided, during the pandemic, that it was time for me to start creating TV, reflecting on who I was. I'm a straight up Venezuelan immigrant. I was the first anchor, and then I went from an immigrant. I became the first anchor in the history of ESPN to be hired to anchor in English. You don't get a better American story than that, and a success story than that. And so I was a bit of a trailblazer back then, way in 2003, and here I am doing the same thing, but now still in English, but representing Latinos and minorities. Because from what I've seen is, the more we think we're different, the more alike we are, because we all have a multicultural story, right? We're all 200%ers. Like for instance, in my case, I'm 100% Latino and Venezuelan and 100% American. I don't see myself as a 50% of nothing. I don't have blank anything. And so we're 200%ers, and Xizzle TV is a place to be able to tell that story, not only of your marketing and your branding and your success story and your brand and your business, but unpack the story of who you are and what makes you tick. So if anyone else that looks or sounds like us, you can motivate them, you can inspire them to reach for new heights. I always tell them, listen, if I can go from Barquisimeto, Venezuela to ESPN, and be a straight C and B student in high school, the sky's the limit for anyone else.
Wow, what a great story. What a great journey. Thank you for sharing that. And you mentioned about mainstream media. And of course, there's so much bad news. In fact, I don't watch television, mainstream television, but somebody had it on and I thought, oh my gosh, the same stories over and over and over
Correct.
again. What can you share with our audience, given your extensive background at ESPN, and what it is that is really, I don't want to say a strategy for providing bad news? When we get away from that and we do programs like what we're doing, we're focused on good news. Why can't
Correct.
mainstream media be focused on that as well?
Well, you know what's crazy? It starts in journalism school. We get taught this saying: if it bleeds, it leads. That means if the more bloody the story, the more importance it takes. It's got to be the lead story, right? So you start off with that mentality because basically that's what we're taught. You know, the more scandalous, the more egregious, the more violent the story is, the more important it has to be. Correct? So I think that's where it starts. But I decided to do counter programming because, as a father myself, as someone who's been in the industry, we've all gotten so tired of that. And I think the pandemic shined the spotlight on mental wellness, and I completely disconnected from regular news because it was overwhelming and too much. And that's what led me to Xizzle TV. Is like I want to create something positive, platform that shine the spotlight on positive media, on things that are fun, uplifting, motivational, inspirational, and those are things that the regular media ignores because that's how we're trained. We're trained the if it bleeds, it leads mentality, and that's literally how we're trained as journalists. Sadly. And listen, it speaks to the core of human nature, or at least what it used to be, right? It's the we were going by, train wreck, and everyone wants to stop and look at the train wreck, right? Everyone rubbernecks when you're going past an accident on the highway. You stop and look. Oh my goodness, look at that. That's the human nature in us, right? But most of us have learned to overcome that, especially during the pandemic, to connect to mental wellness, to disconnect from all of that because it bombards us with all this negative energy, negative imaging, and just negativity and negative news. And you think the world is literally coming to an end. And for me, part of that led to a mental breakdown. And so right before I launched Xizzle TV, I had a mental breakdown. And during that mental breakdown, in the process of healing, the idea of Xizzle TV popped into my head. And I guess it was just so many years of doing that. And I have so many friends in journalism that stepped away from their producing jobs, editing jobs, videographer jobs. It was just too much, because imagine not only living the pandemic, but then having to cover it as a journalist, where it's constant, updates, news on the world is burning, the world is dying. And you listen, and it wasn't just the pandemic. 2020 was just a very difficult year overall. Let's not get into all of that. But it just takes its toll little by little every day. And my therapist, the first thing he told me was, disconnect from the news. You don't need to be learning about the latest COVID numbers every hour, per hour, every headline, every newscast, every internet visit, every website search. It's just too much. So that's where it comes from. It comes from that one saying: if it bleeds, it leads.
Fascinating. Thanks for sharing that. And thank you for being so open about your own journey. I really applaud you for that, because you're not alone in that regard. And so many people are afraid to come forward and share how they're feeling, and they just decide to take another approach, another route. But what I found, and it sounds like you're in alignment with this, is that wherever you are in the world, whatever culture, whatever you're going through, we are all human beings, human doings, and we're the same. But yet there's so much
Correct.
divide. And I love what you're doing by bringing people together and offering education, hope, and inspiration. What have you found since you disconnected yourself from the negativity and from the no's and from the people that are just, all about doom and gloom? How has it impacted your mental health?
I've been inspired myself because I've met so many amazing minorities, from women to Black men, to Black women, to Hispanics, men and women, who are doing so many amazing things. They're highly successful, highly intelligent, motivated, driven individuals who are doing unbelievable things, and they just need a platform, and they just need someone to shine the spotlight on them. And I've been to a lot of entrepreneurial networking events, and in all of those I get goosebumps because I see so many of us doing all these amazing things, and then with the realization that if we all come together, we all work together, we can all elevate each other. So I'm all about elevating Latinos, numero uno, and then elevating all other minorities, including women, and then celebrating on multiculturalism. I've had, Xizzle TV is a place where, yes, we can talk about your marketing, we can talk about your branding, but we can talk about your multiculturalism and how you were raised in America, because everybody was raised in a certain way, how that affects who you are, your company, and how people can connect to that message. And the more we realize we're different, the more alike we are. For instance, I did an interview on a digital assistant company, Divine Assistants. Shout out to them. Thank you so much. They are African immigrants in Canada, and they provide digital assistance to companies, marketing, brand, and not only that, but accounting, emails, any assistant work, like executive assistant work, they provide it digitally, and they train women in Africa to do that. But while we were talking all about that, we connected in terms of being immigrants to America. They're in Canada, it's still North America. And their immigrant story and how they're trying to reach back and help the people from their community who did not get out. We, as a Venezuelan, our people are doing that on a daily basis. We reach back and help our people in Venezuela as much as possible. Cubans do the same thing. I'm sure Italian Americans, Ecuadorian, Costa Rica, and you name it, Mexican Americans, we all do the same thing. And we were all raised multiculturally. Just because you are white doesn't mean you don't have a culture. Maybe you were raised Irish American, maybe you were raised Italian American, but in your home there is a culture there that you were raised. So you're a 200%er. And I think Italian Americans is definitely a 200%ers. They're 100% Italian, 100% American. So it all comes from that. It all stems from that. And I just think it's been a journey that I've learned so much about what America has become and is becoming. It's been, an exercise in multiculturalism, in success, and entrepreneurship, and embracing all that we really are, and the realization that we all have that platform now, that now is our time to shine, that finally, after so many years and so many decades of trials and tribulation, our time is now. And it's all about having that mentality to seize that moment, taking your opportunities and making the most of them.
Absolutely brilliant. I love this. Thank you. We've got a couple of comments from one of our team members here at USA Global TV and Radio, Ian Pelham Turner, who is our expert correspondent over in London. And he's a correspondent for the British royal family and royal photographer. He writes, the problem these days is with 24-hour news. The way news is sensationalized now to make mundane stories at 3 a.m. has bled into all media. As a journalist and broadcaster for 56 years, I have always lived by positive news. Thanks so much for joining us, Ian. And he also writes, come and join our global project with Dr. Jacalyn, Good News Wins. I'll talk to you about that afterwards. And we also have a comment from the Phil Carew Show. Hi, nice to have you with us. Good afternoon from the UK.
Afternoon. Thanks from across the pond, across the way.
Anything you'd like to share with the people making comments?
Well, listen, I agree. 56 years making the news. That person has seen the news dramatically change, especially with digital media, correct? And most recently, I think this is why there's been a rise in positive news, because more of us have the possibilities and the tools because of the internet, because of social media. Because of things like StreamYard, like Google Meets, like Zoom, where we can disseminate messaging, right? Before, it was only the few, only the ultra rich could afford $20 million worth of satellites to buy a station with satellites to disseminate your messaging, right? And your ads and your marketing and your branding and everything. So the dissemination of news was, in the hands of just a powerful few. Now we all have that power, and it's liberating. And for those of us who are tired of that kind of news, because let's face it, that's the kind of news that for so many years, raked it in, made a lot of money. So, but we've become tired of it. And now we all have that power. You have that power. I have that power in Xizzle TV, and we're both, exercising that power through different mediums. But we're all finding our niche audience that can reflect the same I guess values that we currently hold near and dear to our hearts.
Thanks so much for sharing that. And I'd love to have you expound a little bit with our audience. They go to your website and they want to be part of this initiative. Can anyone sign up to be on your platform? And what does the process look like to join you?
As I like to say, it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. You go to Xizzle.tv. That's Xizzle with an X, again, X, because it was easier to trademark. And you go to Xizzle TV and you go to book your segment, right? And you'll get your own standalone episode. And it's all about, I consider myself, once you do book and become a client, an extension of your marketing and your branding. And it's a great way to really label yourself as an authority in whatever field you're in. And the great thing about Xizzle TV is that when you do go to Xizzle.tv and you book, or you can email me, Kirk, Kirk at Xizzle.tv, is this. So we're not only on our free app on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Samsung TV, so you can download it on your TV right now for free. We're also simulcast on 5 other apps, which are Binge Networks, Viva Live, The Grio, Hero Go, and Local Now TV. So you can catch our content on all of that. And really, if we're talking, other people are watching who are in the businesses, I took ego out of it. So what that I'm a former ESPN anchor. I'm not going to create the Kirk Gimenez podcast or the Kirk Gimenez show or Xizzle TV show. I just wanted to be straight up content, because that's how people ingest media nowadays, right? And because I've made that decision, and that it's just straight up content, I give everyone that I interview a Xizzle reel, which is basically a 15 to 20 second master marketing messaging with video and audio, and yours truly voicing over with my silky smooth voice on my silky smooth mic. We give you that intro, and then we welcome you in on the interview. But it's straight up your own standalone show. So you can tell people, go to Xizzle TV, download it on your televisions. I have my own show. And a lot of charities have jumped on the bandwagon. Like I said, the Elena Cardone jumped on the bandwagon. I have Grant Cardone on there. And that's what it's all about, really. It's really spreading that marketing and that branding in a shotgun blast to as many people as possible, because I don't have a branded Kirk Gimenez show or Xizzle TV show. It gets distributed across all those apps. But not only that, it also gets distributed to around 300 digital media outlets. So 300 websites can pick up my content a la carte, say, oh, I like that headline, I like that thumbnail, because I produce everything with a journalistic sense and sensibility and experience. I don't have 56 years in the business like the person who commented from London, but I have over 23 years on camera and over 30 years producing network level television. So that gets pushed out to, for instance, I did one interview with a Latina mom and daughter that they were on an HBO series, and I labeled it straight that, you have to be intentional in all of this. And I labeled it as Latina mom and dad, Latina mom and daughter shine on a new HBO series. And that interview, my Xizzle TV interview, trended on MSN.com for 24 hours. And it's like, and like I said, you have to be everywhere where people are finding those niche audiences and finding that positive news, and finding that news that reflects who they are, and that's what it's all about. I stumbled upon this. I just wanted to make content that spoke to my people and represent my people, because I've always been about true representation since 2003, and I stumbled upon this I guess distribution mentality where I got to be where everybody is. I can't assume that everybody's coming to me and everybody's going to Xizzle TV. I got to go where everybody is. The Grio is an app for African Americans. Viva Live TV is an app for Latinos. Hero Go for geeks. So it gets distributed to everyone and everyone, because I do make, I'm myself, I'm a self-proclaimed geek. I have to be if my name is Kirk. I'm a Venezuelan immigrant named Kirk after Captain Kirk. So I was destined to be a geek. So I make a lot of geeky kind of content, especially when I work with Disney public relations, and they send me a lot of cool Star Wars stuff. So I get really excited about Star Wars. So I do a lot of their Star Wars previews. For instance, they just recently opened a Star Wars hotel, but 8 months before it opened, they sent me content with a full preview. And I did a full preview of the Star Wars hotel that was opening up, an immersive hotel, the first of its kind ever. So I do a lot of geeky stuff too. So it's not just, hey, small business, medium to small business. It's a mixture of all of that. So no matter what you're looking for, you're going to be able to find it on Xizzle TV, whatever your niche is, whatever your desires are, whatever your likes are, your hobbies are. I try to run the gamut on Xizzle TV and have something where you can just select whatever you want. It's a hodgepodge of content that will speak to, I think everyone in terms of lifestyle, entertainment, food, travel, and then inspiration as well. One of my favorite ones, one of my biggest wins was getting the Grant Cardone 10X. If you don't know who Grant Cardone is, he's like the #1 marketing salesman in America, a billionaire. He and his wife, Elena, and Grant Cardone have this movement called the 10X movement. And no, I didn't call it Xizzle TV with an X because of the 10X movement. That's just a coincidence. But they have the 10X movement. And he has these huge conferences where, thousands of people go to see him speak. And they gave me the permission to not only shine the spotlight on the work they're doing, because it's a 10X movement with inner city children and children of need, but also to show a 19-minute clip of his 10X speech. And in his introduction, going there costs a lot of money, attending one of these conferences. But I always want to provide value for the viewers. And I said, well, can I show an excerpt of his speech? So right there on Xizzle TV, you'll be able to go see Grant Cardone, see an excerpt of his 10X speech, maybe be motivated, inspired, start the new year off with a new mindset and a winning mindset and a killer mindset. And that's what it's about, right? It's about taking content and being intentional with it and making sure that it affects people's lives in a positive, truthful, positive, impactful, and positive way.
Wow, that is incredible. I actually follow Grant and have his book, the 10X book. So he's accomplished so much, and he's very much direct and just puts it out there about his background and what he went through. And
Yep.
and it's a great journey. I'd love to have him on here as well.
And for Elena too, the Elena Cardone interview is so inspiring for women, because she went from nothing, and she's helped him build this empire. And she herself is a highly motivated, successful person. And her message, she wants to bring that to every woman and any color and creed. And she went on Xizzle TV. She gave away a copy of her book to anyone who viewed it. For the first, I think 100 people who viewed the episode got a free book. So it's all about providing value, all about providing a platform where we can help people, motivate them and inspire.
Thank you. And we have some comments from people in the audience, which we really appreciate. Thank you again, the Phil Caruso. Thank you, USA Global TV and Radio and Xizzle TV. You're giving so much great value. It is very much appreciated. Thank you.
Gracias.
And a follow-up sharing now. Thank you to you both.
Oh,
and
gracias
also
a
from
eso. Thank you to you.
Our friend Tarek, hi, nice to have you back with us. Media platform in different languages is the special path to bridge the gap between our different ethnicities groups and keep our diversities, inclusion, and uniqueness alive. Happy holiday to all of you.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Feliz Navidades. Happy New Year too.
Happy New Year. And Ian Pelham Turner has a follow-up, a question about where do you see the future? So where do you see the future of television and how we actually take content?
The future of television is the phone, right? And the Xizzle TV mobile app is coming soon, because I have kids, and anyone who has kids realizes they don't watch TV like we used to. And they don't watch television. They watch content. They don't watch shows. They watch content. TikTok, Instagram, Reels. That's the future of television. Our attention spans keep getting shorter and shorter. When I first broke into the TV business, used to have these things called resume tapes on VHSs. They were these big clunky tapes. And the only way you could get someone's attention was off the first 9 seconds. They tell you in the first 9 seconds, the news director is going to make a decision on you. And that's true of most viewing public back in the day. Now you have it shortened to 7 seconds. Now it's supposedly 3 seconds. And I make TV with that mindset, right? We have to be mindful of where we are, how people are ingesting media, how people are ingesting television. So I make my content. I make TV. I stopped calling it TV, call it episodes now, because it's not really a show. I stopped doing that because we've been doing it for so long, and that's not how people are ingesting media. So I feel like it's going to be more and more drawn to the mobile, drawn to short clips, informational clips, that people can get a taste of what something is about without having to invest too much time or energy. Because let's face it, the focus isn't there to sit through an entire show or broadcast. And that's why I took that ego out of it and realized, I got to start making TV the way people are ingesting their media and their content. And that's by calling it exactly what it is. It's just content, man. And when you realize that as a journalist, that's all you've been doing your entire career. I learned that very early on, that all I was doing, my report, no matter how uplifting it was, no matter how informative it was just the time in between the commercial breaks. And that's what was making the money. I know it's cynical, but that's the way TV is produced. And that's the way TV is made. But nowadays, it's evolving into something else, evolving into more like what you and I are doing here on USA Global TV, Dr. Jacalyn, is to provide more value, more positivity, and more something more that can elevate people's lives, inspire and motivate them. But that's the future. The future is now. If you're out there making content, making television, and you don't realize that now, let me tell you, hey, the future is now. The future is here. And that's why the future of TV, I've always said I want it to become the Netflix of marketing and branding. That's the ultimate goal of Xizzle TV, is to become that. If you have people with Netflix, have Xizzle TV right next to it. I have a lot of friends who already have that. Thank you out there if you have your Xizzle TV app right next to your Netflix, and they go back and forth. And listen, that's how I learned what smart TV was. A lot of us, it's still like the final frontier. It's still like the Wild West here in America, where, you're going out and you're really not knowing how to navigate it. Well, let me clarify it for you. And this is, when I had that mental breakdown during COVID, I sat down and I was just reanalyzing everything, right? And I sat down and watched my children, a 12-year-old and they were 10 and 8 back then. 10 and 8-year-old on Netflix, and they literally watched trailers for 40 minutes nonstop, and then they turned off the TV. And I asked them, hey, what are you guys doing? You're not going to watch a show? They, no, we're done. I'm paying, what is it, $17.95 a month for them to surf the internet. And that's all a smart TV is. It has a processor inside, and we're surfing the internet. When we're streaming television, we're surfing the internet. We're surfing someone's cloud, surfing someone's algorithm. If it's Netflix, if it's Disney Plus, we're surfing the internet. And that's one of the idea of Xizzle TV was really first planted in my head, was let me create something that is unapologetically that for people who, that reflects multiculturalism, is, to really be that, to be something where people could just hop around and watch stuff, because that's basically what it is. And that's the future, and the future is now.
Great comprehensive answer. Thank you. You've mentioned ego a couple of times, and I interview a lot of authors here on this platform. We have a show called The Corner Bookstore. And what I found, and I thought it was so welcoming, is that the author community really supports and promotes each other. And I'm wondering, what is it like in this industry? Obviously, you and I already talked backstage. I'm going to reach out to you to see if we can do some kind of collaboration. And I support your work, and Phil here, who's and Ian. But do you find that as an industry overall, it is like that? It's more heart-centric than ego-led, with people supporting each other's work, as opposed to, I want his viewers, or I want to take them and have them follow me. What have you
Correct.
found?
It is very much that. It is very much ego driven. But I think the younger people get it, because I think post COVID, we learned to really collaborate, where collaboration is the key to success and not competition, where there's hundreds and millions of viewers available. You just select your niche. So why compete? Why not collaborate? And the younger people get it. I'm almost 50, but I try to think like a child. I'm 50 mentally, going on 14. So I think that's what helps me. I have a Peter Pan syndrome. But it's the younger people get the aspect of collaboration. And I've started to collaborate with a lot of marketing companies who saw the value of what I was creating. A lot of people just didn't understand it because, they're older, and they're set in their ways of what TV is, what TV isn't. And it was hard and difficult at first to get them to collaborate with me because what are you building? I don't get it. I don't understand. So that's why, I tell people I had to cash in my 401k, build it on my own dime, because it was easier to show people what I envisioned, and the skill set and talent that it takes, and that it is possible, and then try to explain it to them what it was, because they really weren't understanding, because this was back in early 2020. Smart TV is just taking off now. It was just taking off then, and now it's really exploding. Now there's tons of competition, but I don't see them as competition. I see them as I could be a collaborator with all these people, because there's only one you, right? There's only one Kirk Gimenez. There's only, and I forget the person that has 56 years experience in London. There's only one them, and there's only one Dr. Jacalyn, right? You're going to have your audience. No one else can replicate who you are, what you do. You have your audience, you have your voice, you have your influence, correct? Just like there's only one you, there's only one me. No one else is going to be the first Latino and understand on ESPN and a network level like that. No one else is going to be able to understand that or speak to Latinos the way I do, and with the understanding of media and being a network anchor. And those people get it. The younger people get it, and that's why I'm trying to reach to, another thing I'm doing is I teach the media mindset and performance mindset to Fortune 500 companies. I'm currently in talk with Google to teach them like practical tips on how to deliver an effective message. Because why? Because now everything's a broadcast, right? Everybody is an influencer, especially when you're jumping on a Zoom call or a Zoom sales meeting, or you're a CEO, you're taping a B2B video or B2C video or a video to your employees. Is that you have to parlay the message. You have to be camera ready. So I also teach that, and these are skill sets that I've developed over 23 years on television. And I'm teaching that as well to Fortune 500 companies, because, hey, if you're on a Zoom, guess what? You're a broadcaster. And you need to have a performance mindset before you ever hit connect on that Zoom, connect on that Google Meet or Team Ups or Teams or Microsoft, whatever it is. You need to have that mindset ready. You need to be able to reach through the digital divide and deliver your message effectively. And the younger crowd gets it. The younger crowd, and these bigger companies understand that everything is a performance nowadays. Everyone's on camera in one phase or another, especially after the pandemic. And they realize that people need these skill sets that people like me have developed over 23 years. This is something I do before every broadcast, before any social media video that I shoot or edit or tape. And, for me, it's second nature. But these are practical tips that are great for not only delivering an authoritative message, but also getting your mindset ready to deliver that message before you ever hit connect on Zoom or StreamYard or Google Meets or any of those platforms.
Thank you for sharing that. I think you really highlighted something very important, because during the beginning of the pandemic, maybe the middle, you would get on a Zoom call and someone is in sweatpants and you can see their bedroom is behind.
They still are. It's still a disaster.
Yeah,
I mean, it's still crazy. You got to get camera ready. I mean, and it's really one tip that involves three facets. But I'm planning on launching a coaching series about this, because my speaking mentor saw me get ready. I'm here at BOA Studios. I'm Xizzle TV, but I'm at BOA Studios in Miami. And they're a boutique high-end studio that has, you see the fancy mics, the fancy cameras. And I was doing a spokesperson filming for them. And, this is someone who's been in the media for 25 years himself. And he goes, whoa, how did you just get ready to tape that? And I was like, what do you mean? What I just did? How I prepared mentally for the delivery of the broadcast of the message. And he goes, yeah. Can you teach me that? And I go, yeah, I can. I teach that to interns. I've taught hundreds of interns that. And he says, well, and do they have good careers? Yeah, they have. They go on to be reporters, anchors, network anchors, producers, you name it. And he goes, that's something you need to teach, because, I've never seen anyone quite like that, get ready quite like that before a broadcast. And that started elevating my mindset as to the real value and the real need in today's day and age to teach everybody, because back then it was just, just reporters and anchors needed that skill set. Now everyone needs that skill set. And I remember I was speaking at a group, and there was a salesperson who at the end came up to me. He goes, "You know what? I was really not looking forward to this, because I thought, what's this guy going to teach me? I don't need this skill set." And he goes, "Thank you for opening my eyes. And moving forward, starting tomorrow, your practical tips are going to help me. And so thank you so very much for elevating me and my messaging and my career." I said, "Wow, thank you for being honest." But more and more people are starting to realize that they do need these skill sets, because we're all doing some sort of performing throughout the day.
I'm in complete agreement with you. And I feel like what you are teaching, what I teach about listening at an elevated level, they go together like hand in glove. So we've got a couple more comments. Thank you, Ian. Another like-minded broadcaster like Jacalyn and myself. Thank you for that. And he brings up a good point. There's been a lot of buzz about what's coming in technology, Web 3.0. I've heard Web 4.0. How important is it to be on the latest platform? You mentioned you're kind of a software guru. Tell us about these new technology opportunities. Should we embrace them, and what's in it for us?
Well, I think so, because our Web 3.0, at least the way I boil it down to is this, kids are growing up in these environments, and it's a digital environment for your brand, for your company, for your store, for whatever it is. It's really a way for them to interact with who you are, with your product, with your brand, because they're already doing that, and they interact with each other in that way. If it's video games, if you have kids, you understand, because you see them do it every single day. For them, it's second nature. It's part of who they are. It's part of how they hang out, how they talk to each other, how they see each other. It's already happening. and yes, it is the future, and the future is now and luckily I'm in Miami, and I've been to a lot of conferences I've been to NFT conferences, crypto conferences. And it's really an elevated mindset when you realize that the future is already here. You just don't know about it yet because the kids are already doing it. And something as simple as your monitor going out, but something as simple as a contract. Let's say your home, it's going to be digital. It's going to there's no longer, it's not going to be a paper. So you're not going to have a deed. It's all going to be, say, an NFT. And you're going to get an NFT. You're going to buy your condo, and you're going to get your deed, and it's all going to be digital. So if you have been slow to start educating yourself on this, I would say start reading clips, start following these Instagram accounts that explain NFTs and things like that. One on Instagram that I follow that I got exposed to when I went to a conference here in Miami was called NFT Now. And it's all about crypto and NFT and what the future holds. But it's already being done. Condos are being sold with NFTs. You don't have a deed, you get an NFT, and that's your condo. And parties, from parties to rides, to you name it, everything is turning digital, and everything's Web 3.0, Web 4.0. But the thing is, there's companies that are creating these, but they're already in existence, and our children are already living them on a daily basis. And once you realize that, you realize that's where the future is headed, because they're no longer going to, we grew up, we used to go to the mall and go shopping. They're not going to do that. They're going to go to a digital store, check out the product digitally, and buy it right then and there. And they're already living their lives that way. So everybody says, "Oh, what does the future hold?" No, the future's already here. We just hadn't realized it. And it snuck up on us, but it's here, and it's happening already.
Thank you so much for enlightening us with that. We have another comment. Let's see. We really love this, by the way. Thank you so much for engaging with us. The Phil Carroll Show. I would love to interview you both one day in the near foreseeable future on my show. You were both very inspiring. Well, thank you. We definitely appreciate it.
And thank you for all your comments and carrying the comment section.
Absolutely. We love it. So we're coming to the end of our show. And one thing I just would like you to go over for people who are watching? They're thinking, oh, okay, I've heard of the Cardones and they're on his platform, and I don't have any camera ready skills and I don't have any training. Can I still go on Xizzle TV and have my own show?
That's my specialty. I always tell people, listen, all you got to do is jump on and have a conversation with me. Me and my team, we do the rest. And literally, all it takes is 15 minutes. If you give me 15 minutes, you'd be surprised what I can do digitally through a digital interview, with media assets, with writing, with network level storytelling. You'd be amazed at what I can do. And actually, go ahead and watch Xizzle TV. You'll see what I do. And it's all about, having that experience. And that's where I come in. I'm that marketing expert. I'm that branding expert. I'm that network level anchor and writer, producer, voiceover guy that can elevate your marketing, that can elevate your branding. And for me, that's where I come in. A lot of people don't have the time. They have show ideas. They want to do these kinds of things. They just don't have the skill set, right? Well, a lot of people already have the media assets. They just don't know how to put them together. That's where I come in. I come in, I give you the interview, the sizzle reel, the whole kit caboodle, the whole packet, and you get network level production. You get a network level standalone show that you can tell people, go watch me on Xizzle TV. I have my own show. You have your own smart TV show. Yeah. Download it, Xizzle TV. You'll be able to watch my show. And it'll live there for perpetuity, and it'll be a high-end network level production. That's my secret sauce. That's my specialty. Is I take any brand, any marketing, and I give it journalistic treatment. And I really tell the people the who, what, where, when, and why of why it's hot, what's amazing about it, what's new, why it's cool, and where to contact you. So I do all the selling off the top in the sizzle reel in the first 15, 20 seconds. And then the interview with you, the CEO, the founder, whatever, unpacks the story of your brand and of your company. But I do all the hard selling up front, from my experience, that's where a lot of the people have the difficulty is selling themselves. But that's what I do, and that's all writing for television is. It's knowing how to write, how to sell a story, what angle to take, how to really push this and that. And that's what I do. That's my specialty. I'll do it I've done it for migraine companies, to Disney, to the Cardones. And no matter how big or how small your company is, I think it benefits from master marketing and messaging, where it can boil down to, just a few sentences to really tell someone, and tell the viewers what you're all about, why it's amazing, and why it's hot, and why they need to have it.
Kirk, thank you so much for making it easy for people to come forward and share their story on your platform. And as you know, marketing is where people really get tripped up, and you take all of that pain and angst away. So I really appreciate that. And I encourage everyone to reach out to you. Also, for Ian and Phil and Tarek, please do connect with Kirk. I would love to have you guys some kind of collaboration. I know you're on LinkedIn and social media. We've got your banner here, but for people who can't read it, they're on a radio station or podcast platform, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Well, listen, since we were talking about modern and the future is now, just, DM me on Instagram. I'm verified. It's at Kirk, Kirk Gimenez. That's Gimenez. So that's Kirk Gimenez. I'm verified on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, you name it. I'm verified on Facebook as well. So feel free to DM me, message me. You'll see what I'm all about on those platforms as well.
Thank you again. And I'm super excited that you came here and shared so much education with us. I learned
That's what it's
so
all about.
much.
We got to elevate people.
Yes,
Yes,
definitely. And I look forward to reaching out to you and collaborating, and also having you back on some of our other programs.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jacalyn.
Thank you so much. We'll see you again soon. Bye for now.
Bye. Mwah. I'm Latino, so I got to throw kisses. You know me.
Bye. Wow, what a fabulous guest who shared so much knowledge and wisdom. And thank you to you, our loyal followers who are watching and engaging. We really do appreciate it. Our next show is coming up. It's how to bring smiles to the faces of children in Africa. And our special guest is a pastor in Uganda who has a ministry there, and he is working diligently every day to raise awareness and funds to help find clean water for children who have HIV, poverty, children who have been abandoned, and things that we may take for granted here in the United States or other parts of the world. So please do join me and help celebrate the work that he's doing. After that, we have a full day of broadcasting today from pillar to post, as they would say. So thank you again. Happy holidays. If you'd like to be a guest on any of our shows, what are you waiting for? Go over to our website. It's usaglobaltv.com. It's so simple. Just go across the top and look for book your session. All the shows are in Eastern time zone. So wherever you are, just Google it, look it up, and do the translation to the time zone that you're in. All right. Thanks again. We'll be back in less than 15 minutes.